Let's look at some other patterns, and let's look at Travis picking or a folk picking type method. So the first thing I'm going to start with a G chord, and I'm going to play an alternating bass. So I'm thinking quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the top notes we're playing with our first, second, third finger. This is the E string, B string, and G string. Our thumb is playing a low G, then going to the D string and playing the open D string. I would get so I could play this kind of thing with most open string chords. So if you played an A minor, you would play the root and then you'd play the fifth, E, which would be the low E string. If you play a C chord, you're going to move your third finger grab that G note, or come up here and play an E. If we play a D chord, you can do the open D string, the open A string, that's root and fifth. As an alternative, you might look at adding the F sharp on the low E string. Another variation to this kind of playing is to take one of the notes that you're playing and hammer onto it. Now, if I played that really slowly, 1, 2, it sounds like two notes. It sounds like A going to B. If I do it real quickly, the hammer. Like you don't really hear the A note so much. Do that with a D chord. All right, our next variation is called double strumming. And the idea is, if we're playing this G chord, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, everything's quarter notes. We're going to play eighth notes on the chords now. So instead of, we're going to go. Now you can pluck with your fingers. But that gives you a very staccato, almost pianistic kind of sound. So I'm going to suggest, instead of playing it like that, strum with your fingers. And you have a couple of ways of doing it. You could use one finger, you could use multiple fingers, you can use all down strums. Or you can alternate. One finger down, another finger up. So I would experiment with this and in the beginning, don't think so much about comfort. Your comfort level kind of immediately draws you to one technique. If it's easy, you're going to want to do it that way. But you may find that some fingers, although not as easy, give you a better sound or a better feel. And once you decide on which ones those are, it will be worth it to sit and practice just those things. Let's take the hammer-on approach and the double strumming and combine those two. So you'll go low note, double strum, hammer-on, double strum. So the same thing I said earlier, it would be a really good idea to go through all of the basic chords, C, E minor, F, G, D, A minor, A major, all of these first position open chords and work through these various techniques. Because once you have them in all of these open string chords, you can capo them anywhere. So you could get all the benefits of the open strings in any key that you want. Another technique that you can add would be motion in the bass. If we take our same progression, in this case G, E minor, C, and D, each chord is there for 2 measures. Once we move to another chord, if we play a line that walks down to the new chord, in this case G to E, there's one note, F sharp. Sharp to G. I can add a note. So I'm on G, I wanted some more activity, so I went up, added an A note. Going to the C, I walked from E minor up, E, F sharp, G, B, C. Obviously, you have to think about how much time you have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, to get to the next spot. And that's how you determine how many notes or how quickly you play them. Like if I play so walk up to or think a note above and come down to the note that you're targeting. So going from C to D, I played C, B, C, E, D. All right, let me introduce another technique, which is called walking tenths. So if I take a G major scale and I play it up the low E string, then I go to my beginning point and I play that 10th. Again, remember, a 10th is a third, but it's past the octave. That's why we call it a 10th. It is past the octave. So if I play both of these as major scales coming up these strings, I end up with harmonized 10ths in the key of G. And you can use these as part of your walking line. Now, again, it's something you're going to have to get used to. What I would practice would be just play that scale up this string. Once you get used to that, play a major 10th in the beginning position. This is a B note. All these notes belong to the G major scale. So we're just going to go, this goes from G to A, this goes from B to C. And they correspond to chords. So the 1 chord in the key of G is G major. The 2 chord is A minor. The 3 chord is B minor. The 4 chord is C major. The 5 chord is D major. The 6 chord is E minor. 7 chord would be F minor or F sharp minor or F sharp diminished. And then we're back to the top again. So our chord progression is G to E minor to C to D walking 10ths back down to the G chord, walking 10ths down to the E minor chord, down to C, to D, walking 10ths up to the root G. I would practice these up the low E string, and I would also practice them on the A and B string. So the A and B string, that's A, open A, C on top, that's the same as this right here. So A and C, that's a minor. B and D, that's a minor, that would be the 3rd degree. C and E, that's a major, that would be the 4th degree. D and F sharp, that would be the 5th degree. E and G, that would be the 6th degree. F sharp and A, that would be the 7th degree. So these correspond, that corresponds to this, that corresponds to this, 4th degree, C, 5th degree, D, 6th degree, E minor, 7th degree, F sharp minor or F sharp diminished, and then finally G. So let me play around with that just a little bit and show you the kind of motion you could create. All right, let me introduce a pattern generally attributed to Merle Travis picking. The low notes are just going to be quarter notes like this. We're going to play with our thumb, our first finger, and our middle finger, so P, I, M. When you play the first note, you're going to play a high D note with your first finger on the B string. And you can keep this D shape the whole time. So 1, 2, and on the and of 2, you will pick the high E string. It's an F sharp with your middle finger. Let it ring. Then play the low D again with your thumb. On the and of 3, with your first finger, play the D note. Then your thumb on beat 4 will play A. So let me count this as eighth notes. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1. So when you start this off, if you have difficulty with it because of the syncopation, I recommend you would sit and like take all time away. Play that 1 and you get all the time in the world. I would recommend using your foot 1 and when your foot comes up, that's the and. When it comes down, that'll be 2. And this time we play with our middle finger, that's the F sharp note. Then our thumb will play beat 3. Our foot hits the ground. The and of 3, our first finger plays the B string, the D note. Then our foot comes down and our thumb plays the A note. So 1 and 2. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And I know this sounds super mechanical and super boring, but I can promise you over a period of time, time will appear. It's just how we are. Once you get your fingers coordinated with your foot, I would also recommend counting out loud 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Once you have that, then you can apply the metronome and you can start developing some speed. You may recognize this as Dust in the Wind. There are several possible variations. We started off playing thumb and first finger. Let's change that, so we're going to play our thumb and our middle finger. Everything else will be the same. You're just going to reverse the 2 high notes. In the first pattern we played the low D and the high D on the B string together. then we alternate to this high string. This time we're going to change that. We're going to play the low D and the F sharp together. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So those are our first two patterns. We have two more variations of these patterns. And the significant difference is they add more activity. In the beginning, we're playing like this. So the first note we play, this is a quarter note. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. The variation is we're going to break this apart. Instead of playing these two notes together, let's play this one on beat 1. Let's play this one on the and of 1. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Take the second pattern where we played the high F sharp, and now break those open so you're playing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now one last possibility would be, instead of just landing on beat 4 as a quarter note, is to play one of these strings as an eighth note on the and. So that gives you consistent motion with all of these different things. So let's go back to our basic progression. I'm playing in the key of G. My chords are G, E minor, C, and D. So 1, 6 minor, 4 major, and 5 major. So I'm taking our basic pattern. The alternating bass notes are G and D. And I'm using this, I'm thinking in my mind of the song, How Great Is Our God? So one of the things when I play worship by myself, I almost always play with my fingers. I might have a pick nearby and I might use it sometimes, but I almost always do it with my fingers because I'm it. There's no band. And I end up playing sparsely. I might arpeggiate. And I might save a pattern like this. For the main body of the tune. That might be the most activity that happens the entire song. So let's take all of these different techniques that we've been working on, and I will try to apply them to this chord progression. So I'll start off just playing a simple hammer on. And it just adds a little bit of activity. We get to the chorus. Now I might walk. Down to the next chord. So that was all tenths. Because I'm in the key of G, it's very easy to add that open G string. So we're walking from G down to E minor. I only have that F sharp in between those two chords, so to give it a little bit more activity, I might come up higher. And you just have to calculate how much time do I have to get there. Okay, that time I walked down, and then I dropped one voice below the chord I was going to land on. So E, D, B minor, or G over B, finally arriving here on the C chord. So, to kind of reiterate, wrap up, if I start working from the classical point of view, using these Giuliani daily studies, I have arpeggios rolling forward, rolling backwards, combining those tunes, going forward and backwards. I have arpeggios that roll across the strings. You can do that backwards as well. And you can apply all of those to your worship arrangements. You have tremolos. If you take the tremolo in the in the tenths, it's a way of adding to your arrangement a certain kind of energy as well. We can take these alternate bass note and chords and quarter notes. We can take hammer on. We can take eighth notes, alternating bass line and eighth note strums. We can add hammer-ons to those. We can take our Travis pick you can play these in triplets, in sixteenths. You can combine those different things. All of this will add to your arrangement and add energy. We'll see you next time.